Good day. Welcome back to the Pipeline. Happy New Year. Today's January 7th, 2026. I'm Derek Fildebrandt, publisher of the Western Standard, and this is the first Pipeline of 2026. I've missed you all very much. I've also missed my dear colleagues here, former Western Standard opinion editor Nigel Hannaford.
You're never cold.
I was busy doing nothing.
So was I.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't cold.
Yeah. I like you not that much. I really liked doing nothing for a while.
Yeah, it was great.
And also missed our dear friend Cory Morgan, senior Western Standard columnist.
It has been a long break. Like I said, I enjoyed the break, but I was getting restless.
I was ready to come back to work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's, actually doing work while I'm here. I'm trying to reestablish habits, some muscle memory of actually working. But I'm happy to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Locked in my house with kids for that long. I love them, but it's time to send me. You're going back to school. You're going back to school. Okay. Well, I mean, there's never news over the break. Nothing happens, right? That's why we don't need any reporters working. It's not like, I don't know, Canada's former Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance is going to sign up working for a foreign government while a sitting member of the Canadian Parliament. Oh yeah, Donald Trump goes, kidnapped a guy. Kidnapped the president of Venezuela.
Just another Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get to free helicopter rides in a bit. We're going to start the first one there. Chrystia Freeland. So this was, one of Trudeau's best girls. Former deputy prime minister, minister of finance, minister of foreign affairs, etc. I think she was foreign affairs, right?
I don't actually was safe for a while.
Yeah, no, we're thinking of, what's her name?
Another idiot.
Jolie.
Yeah. Anyway. She is still she was in one of Carney's cabinets. She's a member of Parliament right now. For Canada, I should clarify. Member of Parliament for Canada, but she is also now the economic advisor or whatnot for Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. So for those following along at home, Ukraine is this whole other country that is not Canada. It has its own citizenship. It has its own parliament. It has its own territory. That territory is under dispute at the moment, but it has its own territory. It's this whole other country. I love Ukrainians. Who doesn't? We got a lot in Alberta here. I'm broadly sympathetic to Ukraine. I'm not all in. I don't think it's worth World War III over, but I'm broadly sympathetic. And Canada has no formal alliance with Ukraine. They're not a part of NATO. We have no formal alliance. Otherwise, we'd be at war, explicitly at least, with Russia. But now, Chrystia Freeland is now an official employee or working for, in an official capacity, the government of Ukraine. She's not the Canadian representative to Ukraine on economic issues, which I'm sure would be effectively amount to the same thing. But it's not a Canadian appointment to represent Canada to Zelensky, advising him on economics, because everybody knows Chrystia Freeland has all sorts of great economic advice coming from her time in the Trudeau government to impart on Ukraine. They can give Ukraine advice on smart economic policy and how to fight corruption. That'll be brilliant.
Or they give her Maduro. He needs a new job.
Yeah. But anyway, it's not that. She's not Canada's special representative to Ukraine on economic development or something. No, she's working for Ukraine while she is a sitting member of Parliament. That blew up pretty quick. She has announced she will eventually, in a few weeks, resign her seat in Parliament. I don't know. I'm not one to throw around the treason word lightly. And yeah, I mean, Ukraine's not a hostile government to us, but it is a foreign government to us. And so it's not our government, it's not our country. And we're not even in a formal alliance with them. I think we'd be having a different conversation if she had become the economic advisor to Vladimir Putin.
Certainly. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of surprised that it's happening with Mark Carney at the helm. I mean, just think about it. So Brookfield Management, his company, supposing that somebody had walked into the office one day while he was there and said, you know what, it's been great here at Brookfield, but I'm going to go and work for so-and-so. They're not paying me, and I'm not leaving here, but I'm sure you'll understand. He would not take that. He would not accept that. And no employer...
It's the definition of a conflict of interest.
Exactly, and that's what this is. he is eminently content with this arrangement. So really, you have to ask, why would this be a good thing for Mark Carney to allow? Now, I think that I think she dropped this on him on New Year, on Christmas Eve, was it not? So we'll charitably assume he wasn't really awake at the switch at that point. But he's had time to think about it. And the only thing he can think about is the fact it's actually handy to have that vote for as long as it's there, until I can recruit another member of the Conservative Party to cross the floor and take her place. So the whole thing stinks really badly. But at the very basement level that anybody can get at, this is a simple conflict of interest. She's taken a job with the Ukraine. Good luck to her. Hope she does well. Hope if she's going to give them economic advice, let it be to buy all your good stuff.
Haven't they suffered enough in Ukraine?
Yeah, well,
Ukraine suffered enough.
Okay, so I just a shameful thing.
I mean, is she a dual citizen for Ukraine?
I don't ever think so. No, her parents are Ukrainian. Yeah.
I mean, but
because she was born in Alberta.
She's born in Alberta. She's Canadian, but I mean, this is diaspora politics is supposed to at least keep a veneer of loyalty to the country of which you are a member of parliament to, even like the deputy prime minister until very recently, like the veneer of loyalty to Canada first when you're playing this diaspora politics.
Even beyond I don't think it goes as far as treason, perhaps, unless it was a hostile, as you said, a country with us, but still the ethics are just out the window bad. And even if this was the private market, if I'd have said, hey, I got a good gig down at the National Post. Oh, but I'm going to keep collecting a check here. I'm not going to do anything here even. I just expect you to keep paying me while I go work for the competitor. How quickly would the coffee cup hit my head as you're throwing me out the door with my name?
I have fired people for that.
So it's robbery. You aren't doing your job. You're not doing the job. You're getting 6 figures and an incredible pension to do. You aren't even in the country. There's one of the problems with accountability in the Canadian system, because we don't have a mechanism to fire her. Only she can do that to herself. And which I understand with an MP, it should be difficult to take one out of office. But this is a point. You can't say I'm going to kick it down the road and not do my job for a few months for the sake of Carney.
What you're seeing here is actually the liberal mentality. Their basic assumptions about how things ought to work in their favor. You think this would have flown with Harper?
No. They would have been going bananas.
Yeah. And as I said, it wouldn't have flown with Mark Carney if he was still at Brookfield and she was an employee there. So that's the only thing that makes any sense to me, and it may not be the whole answer, is that he just wants her around for the sake of her vote for a little longer.
Well, it shouldn't matter if we're friendly with Ukraine or not. At least it shouldn't be the decisive factor. It should be maybe an aggregating factor if it's a hostile regime or not. But you got to remember, the Canadian federal government, until extremely recently, did not consider the People's Republic of China to be a hostile foreign actor. When all the Chinese foreign interference stuff came up, Trudeau's first reaction was, "You're racist. You're racist. Everybody who's talking about Chinese foreign interference, you're racist against Chinese people." Well, actually, most people blowing the whistle were Chinese who were being bullied and coerced by the People's Republic. But the Trudeau government was very, very friendly with China. Maybe not to the extent we're friendly with Ukraine, like sending weapons, sending money, that kind of thing, but still very, very friendly with China. China was not as explicitly then seen as a hostile actor. This isn't election interference, but it's worse. We've got a sitting member of parliament who is working for a foreign. Like, how is this legal? How is this legal?
I guess it is.
I assume she's run this through the Conflict of Interest Commissioner. I assume a lawyer has seen this.
The other question is
just fairly earns the brass neck to do it.
I got to think that Carney probably isn't thrilled with this.
No.
She seems to like doing things over Christmas. I mean, it was Trudeau where she, Christmas time, she cut the legs out from Onion too.
It's the Freeland's Christmas surprise.
Yeah, I guess. But as Nigel said, though, I mean, Carney should be saying, well, pooper hit off the pot. we either got to get you out of that seat and run a by-election if you want to show yourself as principled, but he'd rather take the egg on his face and say, well, we just can't afford to have that seat become vacant before it's time, so please, we'll keep paying you.
Well, Parliament's not sitting right now. She should resign immediately. He can call a by-election immediately. He actually doesn't need the seat at this exact moment. Parliament's not sitting.
True enough.
There's no immediate budget vote. They've already done the budget vote. I actually don't think that makes sense. He doesn't need. He does. If there's a time for it, it's
unless there's an emergency sitting or something. But
he doesn't need it right now. He
not desperately. No.
He could just quickly call. Get one of his buddies from Brookfield. Put him. That's a safe seat in downtown Toronto. Okay, great. He's got another.
Yeah, it's not like that seat's going to go conservative anyway.
No, it's a solid liberal seat. So he gets to put some guy from Brookfield or whatever. He gets to bring in someone from the outside, maybe someone a little more competent in finance than Champagne, and this is actually a good opportunity for him. My guess actually is that she wants to keep it for some reason, and what's Carney going to do?
So as for her reasons, I gather that this is an unpaid position for a while, and she's got to wait until around about July before she starts working for the Roads Trust, which will be well remunerated. So this is a simple matter of cash flow for Ms. Freeland. Very, very strange thing. What's the betting, by the way, that as the Conservative convention comes up here in Calgary in a couple of weeks' time, there's a couple of more Conservative MPs who've been queued to cross the floor just to muddy the waters for the different subject, but it has to do with the number of people you have on the floor in the House of Commons under your label.
I'm not in the caucus. It's a good question. I'm not in the caucus, but I just say the math is very strong for Carney. The next guy to cross the floor has massive leverage. He can ask for a lot. Now, he might not get the cabinet post that day, so it doesn't look as cynical and transactional as, say, Belinda Stronach when she did in 2005 or whatever that was. But, you delay it, it'll happen in 6 months. But, 6 months, you're going to get this guy gives them their majority. He's going to get leverage. There's going to be, there's all sorts of guys who are in swing seats will have a chance of keeping their seat as a liberal. Damn good chance. And also remember, there's the other side of the ledger. They're still working the NDP. The NDP guys are even more ripe for the plucking. That party is pretty dead. They have pretty abysmal chances. So if you're a New Democrat, you're probably
polling was showing that the NDP were on the uptick. Now that doesn't mean they're going to be
that's brand resilience, but the party's bankrupt.
I mean, if I were to be, Machiavellian and do the nasty political plays, if I were Carney. Oh, yeah. Then where I would be sitting strategically, if I'd negotiated a couple of MPs in the bag over Christmas, I wouldn't want to announce it right now. I want to do it the week right before the Conservative conference. I want to own the news cycle because that's all they'll be able to talk about during the conference. Any messaging they had, any plans they had for the conference will be gone. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a couple in the pocket already.
So once he's got a couple more across the floor from the Conservatives, then she's free to go.
Yeah, that could be the time, too, where you take out the trash. Fine, we've brought these two in. And, oh, by the way, Chrystia, you can go you go to do something. Yeah.
You can go now.
Yeah. I think the timing of that would be smart if the Liberals can't. Now, I guess the downside to that is word leaks out. It's bad news. You don't want word.
If you lose the...
Also, the guy might wiggle off the hook. By then, maybe the MP who's going to cross gets cold feet. But maybe they don't know who each other are, right? It's not like they all sat in a group. I doubt they all sat in the waiting room to go outside the Prime Minister's office.
Take a number.
Yeah. Who wants a cabinet spot? Who wants to join? I doubt that was it.
We'll be done at the table, back room.
Through the holidays. The holidays are ideal because you have so many of those social functions and things going on where you can have informal meetings and get-togethers all over the place. It's the best time for it.
Yeah. Carney is going to get his majority. It's going to happen. It's going to happen from more conservatives or some Democrats.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. These guys will always justify it. There's always somebody. Oh, I talked about it. Constituents tell me they want me to join Mark Carney. We've heard this play 100 times before. And if it's to your team, this just shows we're winning and we're doing things right. And that we're on the march. Of course, conservatives are good. That's why everyone wants to join the conservatives. And when it's the other way, they're traitors. There should be a by-election. They betrayed the people. They betrayed the party. If you like it or not, always depends on which direction it's going.
Well, sometimes more than others, Derek. I mean, you get one.
I know you're going to justify once to the conservatives right now.
No, actually, just speaking in very general terms, you get one person gets a crisis of conscience and decides they must cross the floor. Okay, we don't like it, but it happens. Yeah. When you have a number of people orchestrated to cross the floor in sequence, well, then that's a different kind of political maneuver, and one that doesn't make these people look very good.
And I'm not bashing floor crossing. Actually, the ability to floor cross is a critical part of our system. Yes. Our leaders are already far too powerful, and the ability to leave your caucus.
Yeah, I've been up heavily for writing and saying that before, but there's truth to it.
That is one of the only remaining checks on the power of leaders in the Canadian parliamentary system. It's one of the only things. Look at in BC. Now, they didn't leave. It was the threat of, they were going to lose the majority of caucus that got John Rustad out. The ability to leave caucus when you have a leader doing bad things and the party doing bad things, it's necessary. It gets abused all the time for, this has nothing to do with the cabinet post I'm getting or this committee appointment, etc. And it never has anything to do with that. I mean, so there's
always a principle.
The really principles, they resign and as MP and fight the election again under a different flag. How about that?
No, I don't, because technically we're still not electing parties, we're electing MPs. We know that's not the case in reality, but it's one of the only checks we have on a leader at this point. So,
anyway, cross the floor. Week before the convention.
Yeah. Okay.
You read it here first.
So, speaking of rides, let's talk about free helicopter rides in Venezuela.
Better explain the joke.
Well, it's funny. I think it's a joke that younger people get who were not around when it was taking place. Older people who were around when it was taking place tend not to get it. Well, when we talk about free helicopter rides, we're talking about Pinochet, the anti-communist leader or dictator, if you will, of Chile. And he was known for giving free helicopter rides over the Pacific Ocean to communists. He would pick them up in a helicopter and they would just go for a ride. No, they just slipped out. The communists slipped out and fell into the ocean.
Yeah, the Guatemalan government used to do that as well. I visited Guatemala at the end of the 80s, and there's still that proxy war going on. And people just disappeared.
So,
did the Argentinian junta do something similar? The Argentinian government background, and I thought
they had kind of a Latin America technique shared.
It's kind of a Latin American thing, but Pinochet was the one most known for it. He really perfected the art of free helicopter rides. So, when the United States comes in and scoops up Maduro in the middle of the night in a helicopter, I was pretty surprised that they didn't say, the guy was all sweaty and wearing some pajamas. He fell out of the helicopter somewhere over the Gulf. But they brought him back alive. So, Cory, you and I, we certainly set the cat among the pigeons with our commentary on this when it happened. There's no room for nuance in this. The world is an objectively better place without a communist dictator like Maduro in charge of the Venezuelan people.
Yeah.
Talk to I don't know a ton of Venezuelans, but all the ones I know, they're having a little. They don't. Mariachi bands are Mexican, but
particularly any diaspora population, because they had to run from their homeland because of people like him.
This is good for the Venezuelan people, generally, but I'm naturally pretty skeptical of this, world police thing, and America just comes in and does its thing.
F yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Team America song, wasn't it?
Yeah, here, let's play the song. Play the song, John.
Well, you can't. Well,
America.
You'll have to bleep it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, what a classic.
Yeah.
When I first watched it, Bush was still around. I watched it unironically. Then a couple of years later, I was like, ooh, yeah, they're making a point here that
it's a point that's salient today.
Yeah.
Actually, very much so. Are they the world police? Is that the role that he should be taking on? Was Maduro presenting such a threat to the United States? And again, it's not. That's where the discussion unfortunately goes off the rails immediately. Oh, you're defending him? No, I'm not. I'm just. Is this the appropriate way to deal with it? And maybe it is. But we should be open to discussion on it. And right now that discussion's a little heated.
So, Nigel, I hold several mutually exclusive and contradictory opinions at the same time on this. Trump. Okay, if this was Bush or Obama, if this was anyone going back to Woodrow Wilson, they would say this intervention is about making the world safe for democracy or some highfalutin idea, and it's not. It's raw politics and power for one thing or another. It's serving some kind of agenda, and they would always try to cloak it in flowery language about liberal democracy. And Americans are pretty cynical about that now, very rightfully so. I think Iraq was kind of finally finished that off. We're going to be America First is supposed to be about pragmatic. It's the tractors say, well, they're isolationists. No, there's a big difference between isolationists, which is we pretend that the world stops at the oceans, the coasts, and the world doesn't exist. And that pretty much doesn't exist in America. It almost never really has. America First is America shouldn't be embroiled in fighting other people's wars and playing world policeman, but American power can be used for American interests. And Trump, he did not say, we did this for tomorrow. He's like, we're going to take their oil. We run Venezuela now, and we're going to take back the oil. Actually, and he does have a minor point on that. Not a minor point. He does have some point. Hugo Chavez had nationalized American oil assets, which is stealing. So America actually does have a claim to some of that oil. They stole it. Anyway, he was very cold, transactional language, taking the oil, and then other members of the administration tried to walk it back and soften it. But I don't know. Is this like Roosevelt on steroids, that America is now going to, in a very muscular way, exercise its dominance of the hemisphere?
All right. Absolutely. When you were talking about America, the world policeman, I thought, well, no, this has got nothing to do with being the world police. This is looking after things on the home front. Don't forget, it's not just the oil, although that's what we're focused on at the moment. It's also the drugs. It's also excluding from the Chinese.
The drugs were a bit, but it wasn't mostly the drugs. That's what they got. That's what they were charging them. But it wasn't.
I disagree with you on that. But
but then they would have been in Mexico first, or Colombia first.
Well,
Venezuela's a part of it, but they're not the big.
They're next. That's all.
That's
Yeah,
some
we
of the
will talk
discussion,
about
yeah.
I'll believe it's about drugs when they go in and start murdering.
Well, I don't know. Has the price of an 8-ball gone up yet?
Pardon? I didn't hear what.
He's asking if the price of Coke has gone up yet.
I imagine price of oil comes down, price of Coke goes up.
Well, the issue for us, of course, here in Alberta is what is this going to do? We got 50 million barrels of oil going to be leaving Venezuela, ending up in the coast refineries. That's actually where Alberta oil goes.
Mm-hmm.
So Alberta oil is going to be at a bit of a discount. Not that this is the subject of this segment, but if you want to feel mad with anybody, again, feel mad with Mr. Trudeau, who canceled arbitrarily. You want to talk about arbitrary
Northern Gateway should already be.
Northern Gateway should be right there, and we should be pumping oil through that to new customers, because it's going to be difficult when you have got a steady stream of oil coming from Venezuela.
Thankfully, the Venezuelans have been such economic illiterates for so long that it's, some of the estimates I've seen, it would take about $1 trillion and a decade to get Venezuela's production
Their field's a mess.
to
right
about
now.
to our levels. So thank God for communism. It's the only thing saving Alberta right now.
I mean, just what next? I mean, that's just kind of the thing kicking off the year. There's Trump being Trump, though.
Oh, we'll get into what.
Yeah. So, I mean,
we'll get into
what's
what
the helicopter thing that just that.
Remember when Trump said we don't need your oil?
Mm.
Us going into CUSMA negotiations.
Oh, yeah. He's
And
got
now
another.
you can say, hey, but don't need your oil. I got it from Venezuela.
Getting a little
It's
back
going to take them some time, though.
to possible ethics of this, though, and the fact that he did bring him back, he brought him alive, he's putting him on trial and going through a process. I mean, we go back to kind of the last time the Americans did something similar when they got Osama bin Laden. And here's where the only time when I really throw my tin hat on, because I still don't believe that they killed him there. There's this weird that, we shot him and we just whipped him off and dumped him into the ocean because we didn't need any other evidence and everything else. Everybody else forget about it. We'll just move on with life.
Yeah.
I got a
It was a
strong,
little weird.
I got a strong suspicion that perhaps he went somewhere for a very uncomfortable month or two just to make sure they could get every other bit of information on Al-Qaeda out of him before he did eventually disappear in the ocean. The Americans aren't above and beyond that, perhaps. or CIA or Mossad. Let's talk about other countries that do those.
They took some fingernails before the drug.
Yeah, either way, I can't be wrong. That's certainly, but it was odd. They didn't.
I think they did kill bin Laden, but did they get him right then?
Who knows? Yeah, but there was no effort to. This wasn't an assassination attempt. They didn't just take a drone and blow up his bedroom, or he didn't fall out of a helicopter, or choke on a green bean on his first day in prison, or anything of the sort. So I think they are still trying to frame themselves a little bit of saying this is a police action versus a power play.
It is an act of war. I mean, snatching the head of state, an illegitimate one who obviously rigged several elections. He's illegitimate, but he is the head of state according to their law, because they have obviously their judicial system is corrupt, but that judicial system recognizes him as the president. That doesn't mean he's legitimate, but it means he's legal, and those are different things. I think we've got a legal government that is illegitimate too, but he is the head of state, and snatching him is an act of war. America committed an act of war. Question is it justifiable? They're not doing it on the grounds of democracy. I think the byproduct, it's still way too early to say. We don't know how it's going to develop in Venezuela. Are they going to have a new, some legitimate elections at some point that are overseen by international observers? Very possibly, but we don't know. I imagine Trump probably wants to get there at some point, but he's seen that as a byproduct, and he's not doing the Bush and Obama and Clinton thing where it's just like, we're doing this for democracy and blah 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 blah. We're doing it for them. It's like, no, we're doing it for us.
Yeah.
And at least that is,
and it's offering a chilling effect to other countries that are obstinate or dictators as well. This didn't go like Bay of Pigs or even the Iran attempt to rescue hostages. This went without a hitch. He took quite a gamble. If their special forces had landed in there and they'd been pushed back and lost a few members and it
not a single American casualty,
it could have turned into a catastrophe. Obviously, their intelligence was amazing. So that every dictator right now is looking around their room.
I'm not sure it's just dictators. Greenland and Denmark, we're going to get there, but I'm not sure it's just dictators.
So, it's making them sweat, though. Where else is the next CIA agent?
They're going for Trudeau at Katy Perry's apartment.
God, I think they've got him on a leash already with that. Or just keep him occupied with a pop star. We don't have to worry about him anymore.
I don't know.
There's a lot going on here. And the bigger picture, we didn't stay there, but keeping the Chinese out of Central America is a very big thing for Trump. The oil is a big thing. The drugs are a big thing. But you may remember 2 years ago, there was quite a foofara that the Chinese had gained effective control of the Panama Canal. They had their people running it at each end, and obviously everything that went through with the blessing of the government of China. That's not a situation that the Americans can tolerate.
No.
And so here is another situation that production was going straight to China. So now they're scrambling to find another 400,000 barrels a day of oil from the world market. They've got a problem, and they know they're not going to be able to do what they want to do in Central America. So it's an act of war. That's what nation states do, unfortunately, if they are powerful enough. If they're not powerful enough, then they form a League of Nations or a United Nations organization and try to moralize about it. But in the end, the International Court, if you want to take it that far, can only enforce a judgment if it has the backing of the largest nation.
Makes right.
So pretend this is about international justice or anything like that.
We have 80 years of liberal international moralizing about this. Actually, we go back to the end of the First World War, the League of Nations. At the end of the day, it's all bullshit. It's nice. The world is nicer when we go by that, but we don't ever actually go by it. We just kind of pretend to. And maybe it does give us more norms to go between some guardrails, but end of the day, it's all bullshit.
The world courts and all that, too. It's funny, some of the people decrying, though, what Trump did with Maduro are the same ones who were saying that Netanyahu should be arrested if he steps foot outside of Israel.
Actually, with what I saw he's doing to the Christians in Israel, I'm actually kind of coming around to that. I've seen it, but only what he's doing to Christians there. I'm coming around to that now.
Either way, the ability to take a leader into custody with another state is the question. And
well, this is a whole other thing. That's like going to Israel and snatching up Netanyahu.
oh yeah,
That's an act.
good luck on that.
That's good luck. You're not going to get to the Mediterranean before they stop. Yeah. Okay, so we could we'll take this a bit more broadly, zoom out. America, Team America here. Some of this stuff, like we talked about Iran. When Iran happened back in was it October or so. I was not for that one because I don't think that was America's interest. There was no evidence, still no evidence really provided. Nothing solid, at least.
It's buried 600 feet deep.
Yeah, but I don't trust governments with just saying the evidence is down there somewhere and you're going to trust me.
Said that in the Gulf War too, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm just not taking anyone's word for it anymore. We've just seen that abused enough. But I don't think that was in America's interest. That was other interests. Venezuela is America's interest. Now, is it the right thing to do? Is it nice? No, it's not. But is it the right thing to do from an America first, national self-interest perspective? I mean, time will tell. But very possibly. But this is now being applied very aggressively elsewhere. You've got, we talk about Panama. America built the damn thing. There's a pretty strong argument for it. Actually, Panama exists as a country because of America. They formatted old.
And then because George Bush wrote the book on that, he grabbed Noriega. So it's
Iron Maiden had a hand in that as well, if I recall. Give credit where it's due. Well, they were blasting Iron Maiden outside when they were
Yeah, that's pretty America. That's America. But then it's we were saying earlier, it's not just dictators. It's got friendly like. Can you think of a more benevolent country in the world than Denmark? At least for the last 1,000 years.
First ones, Denmark, Canada, Sweden, they just don't stir the world.
They're in the Canadian club of these benevolent, don't bother.
Nice guys, yeah.
Yeah, like the super nice guys. Now, the last time Denmark was at war, they actually have the record to this day for being the shortest. When they were attacked by Germany in the Second World War, I think it was literally a matter of hours. They literally just dropped paratroopers on the presidential palace and the war was over. I think it was the shortest invasion in world history. And I imagine an American invasion of Greenland would go similar. It would be an unopposed. Like, there is no point in fighting. American carrier rolls off the coast of Greenland. I'm sorry, guys, it's over. It'd be like if they came for us. But this is their NATO partner. If America took an aggressive military action against Greenland, technically that's an act of war against NATO.
Yeah, that's a different line crossed.
But Ukraine attacked NATO when they blew up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. So technically we should be at war with Ukraine for that.
But I read
send them Chrystia Freeland.
I mean, it's opened up so much discussion, and part of it is everybody's got to speculate what is the big plan in the Orange Man's head, and it's hard to try and guess what he's really looking at. As you said, I mean, somebody wrote a good piece, actually. I think it might have been the Globe. I do read that. But if he went into Greenland, it might be the end of NATO. And if it's the end of NATO, then we got some other bigger issues going on throughout the rest of Europe. There's a lot of ripple effect that comes from these actions.
You may be right about that, but I personally do not think that the object is to make Greenland the 51st state or the 52nd or the 53rd.
What the heck is
what are they going to do with a continent that's covered by ice?
It actually is pretty small. It only looks big because it's actually quite small.
It's either way. It's a lot of real estate covered by ice. You can't do anything with it except on a few little coastal enclaves. So the deal is going to be: we need this and we need that. There's where we're going to put our bases. And then,
but they already have the bases there. There's been an American military presence there since you're in the middle of the Second World War.
Well, now they want more.
Yes, and Denmark and Greenland have said they can have it.
Yeah, but all the acres, if you're paying the lease, hell, you can have it.
They have invited them to do it. What I think this is Trump has got a big big risk board sitting somewhere in the Oval Office, and he wants to paint more stars and stripes. America looks bigger, cooler, more badass. He wants to leave legacies in America.
Shaving your bushes to make the tree look bigger. There's an insecurity going on.
This is, and I don't even mean these words pejoratively, but this is about demonstrating American expansion, manifest destiny over the hemisphere making America look cooler. America is growing again.
Fortunately, it's not a risk for
I
it.
think I think that's what he's doing there. I like playing strategy games, and I like to paint the map of whatever country I'm playing here. The map looks bigger for me. I've taken it over. And I think that's what he's doing, because America can put all of the military installations and hardware and personnel that it wants in Greenland. They have since 1942. There's no restriction on what America can do there, really. He doesn't need to own it to do that. I think it's just because it's cool.
Well, it is cool.
And it is cool. No, I'm sorry, it's cool.
I was playing on words there. The thing is that he is sending the message every time he does something extreme. Don't mess with me. I will bomb your underground nuclear factory. Don't mess with me. I will have you out of your cottage and into a New York pen, and we will take your oil. Everything he does is calculated to build the reputation of don't mess with me. That is actually a very safe thing to do, because the one thing where wars really start, I'm talking about the serious ones, is when people aren't quite sure what the other side is going to do. The First World War is a classic example of that. The Second World War, you could make the same argument, it would just take longer to do it. If he says to China, stay out of Taiwan, the Chinese are not going to invade while he is president. And all of these things contribute to that image of irresistible force not to be trifled with.
He might be that, but actually the Taiwan example, I think, might be backwards. Trump, I don't think there's any grand doctrine of Trump that you can really...
That's what I mean. You don't know where he's coming from.
But I think one of the general things he sees is he sees the world as transactional, great power, multipolar politics, and America should be the greatest pole of that, but he recognizes spheres of influence. And recognizing spheres of influence, arguably, could have maybe stopped both world wars. Maybe. Hard to say. But the idea is, okay, Ukraine, that's Russia's sphere of influence. Always has been. Nothing we can do about it. So we're going to write off Ukraine, because that's Russia's sphere of influence. Taiwan, we like Taiwan, but it's China's sphere of influence. It's ethnically Chinese.
Well, then he just went and intercepted 2 tankers that were bound for Russia, weren't they?
In America's hemisphere.
Yeah, I'm just saying
his aggressive actions here
onto the other side of the Eastern Europe line too.
Sure, but he's saying no. Russia, you can do what you want in Ukraine. Maybe he's saying tacitly that China can do what it wants in Taiwan. Maybe I'm reading too much into that one, but he's saying the Western Hemisphere, no one gets to play here. This is Monroe Doctrine on steroids. Venezuela, you're not being a proxy for Russia and for China anymore. You work for Daddy Trump. That's what's going on here.
Well, it's got a lot of panel on
really all of this. Some Western Hemisphere, and America's the boss. Yeah, and as a result, the other big powers, you get to do what you want in your backyards. But this is my backyard.
I think broadly I would agree that he has a view of spheres of influence, but the Chinese are so obviously making the whole world their sphere of influence, but especially around the United States. This is what concerns him. But yeah, there is a strong element of pushback, and Taiwan, of course, is at the point at which the Chinese could challenge him, and I think if he says no, stay out of it, they'll wait until the next Democrat.
I don't know.
Well, you may be right. I'm just saying. He's coming.
But I don't think he sees Taiwan as America's national vital interest. Is it worth World War III? I don't think it is. I'm sorry for Taiwan. I mean,
it will come to World War III, because what he says will simply be taken. It's not worth taking the risk. We'll wait till the next Democrat.
Chinese do like thinking long term. That's one thing to give to them. They're the opposite of Trump. Trump is like tomorrow morning, the whole plan could be different.
A week is too long.
The Chinese could be thinking a generation ahead. And if they got to wait out an administration, it's just an administration. But I just had to laugh on a similar subject with people who were uncomfortable or worried about the states unrealistically or realistically. I don't know if you saw that Toronto Star headline that Ford now has to watch his back. Doug Ford.
They're going to kidnap
That's
Ford.
according to the Toronto Star.
They're going to kidnap Ford?
They're going to come get Doug like they want him. But this is the absurdity of Canada's legacy media. I just, it should have been a parting shot, but I already have one. So and it ties into this issue. But the ludicrousness of people's responses to this whole affair
It's just another reason to criticize Trump.
Well,
I mean, okay. Well, so that guy couldn't even do something good. Never mind
the Trump cultivating the image. I'm the crazy guy. I'll do it. Okay, you saw remember Little Rocket Man, North Korea, Kim Jong Un. Okay, he's been doing that, and I get the strategy from that perspective. But Greenland, Denmark, it backfires there potentially because. Yes, in international politics, it's important that your adversaries believe you that I am crazy enough. I will come snatch you out of your presidential palace in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I will bomb your ass. But at the same time, trust from your friends and allies is important. People have to believe your friendship is worth something, that your alliance means something, that your signature on this treaty means something. And essentially, I doubt anyone would get killed in taking Greenland. I would be utterly shocked if there was any kind of battle at all.
The landing boat hit a rock or something.
Yeah, there'll be nothing. But, it could still be a non-violent occupation, military action, that kind of thing. Those happen. How could NATO survive that?
Look, I'm not shilling for Trump. I'm just saying that this is his game plan. I don't, like you said, they've had bases there for a long time. What's different about this one? I don't know. But
maybe he's just negotiating a lower lease rate.
Or maybe he's right. Maybe the message isn't for the Danes; it's for somebody else altogether. Don't screw around with me because I'm, you guys in NATO can go on.
I mean, NATO is largely obsolete in many ways. It's and actually, that foreign policy paper that the White House put out roughly a month or so ago does look at Europe as now an unreliable partner in the long term, that Europe is undergoing radical demographic replacement. Europe is already almost not European anymore, and it is becoming increasingly less so by the day. And America sees that. And okay, you're no longer our brother that we know. We're no longer going to share common civilization very soon. NATO is, in many respects, obsolete. And this could be by intention. This could be Trump intentionally trying to just finally scupper NATO because it's already finished.
I mean, the lazy, kind of closure on it just is that 2026 is kicking off. The whole world picture is changing now. We're in for a heck of a ride this year.
Nothing happened over the break. Real quiet on the news front. Okay, gentlemen, who wants first parting shot?
You go first, Cory.
I just wanted to remind everybody of all those recalls that legacy media and some professors and others were saying we're going to force Danielle Smith into a spring election out of terror. The most feasible one of them all was Nicolaides, and it was the one based on him being the education minister and teacher strike.
And it was a razor-thin margin margin.
Yeah,
it was very close.
It was one that's conceivable, not even vaguely close to making the signature barrier. It's going to fail, and the rest will fail even more so, obviously. So that was just a bunch of show and an abuse of the system. And the bar that was set in the legislation is appropriate. I think if we did have an axe murderer in the legislature, then the bar would be achieved. But this wasn't enough. Thank you for demonstrating the efficacy of the legislation, Gil. Better luck next time.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah. So for my 2 pence, I think we're about to see now whether Carney is serious about a pipeline to the coast. For all that's happened in Venezuela, we talked about it for half an hour. The case for getting an alternative export route has, for Alberta oil, never been more obvious. So if something isn't on the rails in 12 months, we'll know without doubt that his green values mindset is what animates him. He's been just looking for a way to make it look like he's serious, but also to make it go away. So I'm kind of pessimistic about that. And I have to say, what has Carney actually accomplished in 10 months? Can you think of anything that's really...
He got
rid of Freeland.
Saved the Liberals.
He saved the Liberals. All right. Well, thanks very much for that. Now we got somebody we can criticize. We could have found something else. No, he's done nothing for 9 months, except made plans. It's like somebody who is very unconfident of their EA job. They spend all the time rearranging their desks. So now we've got to a ministry of fast track projects, but we got no projects. So is the most disappointing tenure of office?
I came straight here from a meeting, and I actually didn't prepare mine, but I've pulled one out of my arse, and it feeds right into what we've been saying about where is America going next. We've got actually a pool. You can't see it on the camera here, but we got kind of a glass wall over there, and I like to write out wagers I make with the staff sometimes. This one, I'm the house. I'm giving odds on what country Trump will make a significant intervention with next. I'm defining it as a significant act of war. Doesn't have to mean a war actually breaks out, but an act of war. So, it could be major bombings. It can be snatching the president out of the palace or something. So I'm giving 1-to-1 odds Iran or Mexico, 2-to-1 odds on Colombia, Cuba, and Panama, 5-to-1 odds on Greenland, and 15-to-1 odds on Canada.
So don't sweat it, folks.
And I made a subcategory for Alberta, 10-to-1 odds. Now I'm not. That's not. I don't know how legitimate those odds are that I'm given. But the fact that I'm, 15-to-1, the fact that it's
like we're even talking
not
about
a billion to one, the fact that it's not a billion to one, I would obviously not. I'm going to win the bet. I'm willing to give 15-to-1 odds on Canada. I probably should give even better odds, but I'm not going to collect pennies here. But the fact that it's not a billion to one shows you that we're in a very interesting new world. All right, Cory, we are Nigel. Thank you, and John for running the show. Thank all of you for joining us today on The Pipeline. Remember to go to westernstandard.news, click on subscribe. It's only $10 a month or $100 a year for unlimited access to all Western Standard content. Supporting the work that we do, we've got new offices. We're growing in addition to our core in Calgary, Edmonton. We've got offices in Vancouver, Regina, and I'll be formally announcing it soon. But we're in Toronto, believe it or not. Toronto, we're coming for you, Dougie. For once, the West is trying to colonize the East. We're bringing the Western Standard out east. Our reporter Jeremy Borg, who's been with us for some time, he's a Toronto native. I do hold it against him, so we've exiled him back to the east, to Toronto at Queen's Park. That's it for today. Thank you very much, and God bless.